Niranjan Hiranandani, the MD of Hiranandani Groups. Remember, the finance minister did talk about the infra push that the government wants to give. Of course, Mr. Hiranandani speaks on his views on India's roadmap across sectors. Let's talk to him and understand what his first reaction is to this interim budget that has been presented today. Mr. Hiranandani, good evening. Thank you very much for speaking with Mirror Now. Your first reaction on the interim budget.
I think fantastic forward-looking budget, giving a full assessment of what they want to do backwards while talking about whatever they have done in the past, also saying forward what they want to do. For example, in the housing sector, they're already talking about 2 crore houses in the next 5 years. They're talking about infrastructure of the cities, of the highways, and huge investment. They're talking about the fiscal deficit coming there and creating a Viksit Bharat by 2047. All these 4 or 5 statements is fantastic because the affordable housing segment had taken a hit. So this PMAY scheme coming back into action with 2 crore houses, 20 million houses, I think is going to make a huge difference. And to bring back the affordable segment back into the market, because in the last 6-12 months, the affordable segment had taken a hit. So while the middle income housing and luxury housing had moved upwards, in the last 6-8 months, we did see that we're not saying that the affordable house segment was not doing well. It was doing well, but there was no increment as compared to the other segment. So this, I think, is a clear-cut indication that. And overall, talking about the developed market and then specifying specifically as to what the components will be. For example, roads, and for example, ports, airports, highways, everything, industry, manufacturing, I think all that. And plus, of course, the social benefits required to meet the poorest of poor in every segment. I think all that put together really indicates that they're going to do both sides. We're going to see the development side as well as the social commitment side.
Mr. Hiranandani, one of the talking points is the government's plan to launch a scheme to help the middle class buy or build their own houses, essentially making housing affordable. Your perspective on that, Mr. Hiranandani?
See, the point is very simple. The middle class is of both the segments of the affordable segment as well as the middle level segment in housing. And I think that lower part of it was taken care of by the PMAY scheme and that interest subsidy. So 2 things changed. One is that the PMAY scheme got over and the interest rates have gone up. It used to be 6.5% for housing. It has now come to 8.7%. Now that 2.2% increase in interest rates is not affordable because it's almost 20% increase in the hike of the interest. It's just not possible. All the people in that segment are affected, especially those with the fixed income. So that is the issue that needs to be addressed. Number 2, when the original assessment was done for this housing, in the first PMAY scheme, we had assessed the total requirement as 30 million, which is 3 crores, which has been fulfilled. Now we realize that we need much, much more in order to take care of the country. And that is why this addition of 2 crore houses or 20 million houses is being sought for in the next 5 years. So it was an assessment which was less rather than that. And probably if that time we had assessed at 50 million houses or 5 crore houses, they would have been hesitant to take off the scheme at that time. So I think the interest rate hike has affected the affordable segment more. And even if the subsidy works, we will still have certain segment of the economy which will not be able to buy the houses and for which interest rates will also have to come down, which we hope in 2024 it will happen.
Mr. Hiranandani, as you speak about the real estate sector, you also mentioned a word, Viksit Bharat, which did come up several times in the budget speech as well. Now, there is a push for infrastructure and the need for development. What is your view on India's roadmap across sectors?
I think it's fantastic. She was very, very, very clear as to the direction in which the economy will go. What are the segments they have already done in the last 10 years, 9 years, and what they are going to do in the way forward. Also, the investments into infrastructure, which is further increased. I think that's going to be an extremely important thing. And keeping the fiscal discipline is going to be a double multiplier effect in the economy. And if you want to actually go to a double-digit GDP growth, which is what she did not mention, but if you have to reach the idea of Viksit Bharat by 2047, in the next couple of years, you will have to have 1 or 2 years when you will reach double-digit growth. And you have to remember that China reached double-digit growth only in the period where they were focusing on housing and infrastructure. So the refocus on housing and in urban infrastructure, overall infrastructure, may bring actually from 7.2%. My view is you will maybe in the next 2 years even touch 10% GDP growth, which will bring us to our target much earlier than 2047.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Niranjan Hiranandani, for speaking with us at Mirror Now and sharing your perspective on this interim budget that has been presented by the Finance Minister.